Hello, hello. I'm Samantha Shover, Associate Editor here at Progressive Grocer, and welcome to Top Women in Grocery, a podcast focused on the trends, topics, and interests that move women forward in grocery retail. We're spotlighting extraordinary women in the grocery industry who have had successful careers, led interesting lives, and are making waves in their workplaces and in their communities. Today, we're sitting down with Patti Bauer, SVP of Customer and Supplier Success at UNFI. It is great to have you here today, Patti.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So walk us a little bit through your career journey. What drew you to the retail space and eventually to UNFI?
That's a great question. And I actually started my career in IT in the finance sector. And I realized along the way in my journey that I wanted to be closer to the impacts that we were making by the strategic decisions that were happening in our roles. And that drew me to retail and then ultimately to grocery. And the role I have now, where I'm both customer and supplier facing, is just a perfect role for me. We see the impacts that we're making. We see the changes that we can influence, and the scale, scope, commitment, and vision of UNFI allows for all of that in a meaningful way. So it's a perfect role at a great company.
That's a really great answer. I always love hearing people passionate about their work. And there is one specific thing I wanted to bring up. So at UNFI, you worked extensively on a little something called the Endless Aisle platform, which rolled out late last year. What is Endless Aisle, and what are the benefits for retailers, suppliers, consumers, anyone you can think of?
So at UNFI, we have many small suppliers and small customers. We hear feedback for what they need to differentiate, either to get more eyes on their product from a supplier standpoint or from a retailer standpoint, differentiated items into the assortments that they're selling to the end consumer. We listened. And we not only listened, but we heard what they were asking us for. And we committed to finding a solution that would do all of those things for the supplier as well as for the retailer and then ultimately the end customer. So Endless Aisle is a digital marketplace where our emerging brand suppliers can put any items that they can drop ship onto this digital marketplace. They get customers, all of our customers have access to this platform. So you get more eyes on those items. And it works for all different levels of suppliers in their journey. So a new supplier that isn't yet in any DC is able to get more eyes on their product and potentially graduate to a DC. For those that are regional, they might want West Coast exposure. And so now we have customers in the West Coast that can see their items. And then we have some suppliers that are already in all of our DCs, but they may want to test a new flavor or a new item. And so they can test market that and see if it's something that they want to move forward with. And then on the customer side, our small independents in particular are looking to differentiate from all of the big boxes that are going up around them. And we want to help them drive that foot traffic and keep that interest in their store. So now they have access to items that maybe aren't found anywhere else or maybe aren't found in their region because they have access to so many of these suppliers. And the end consumer ultimately benefiting from all of these innovative items. And I know we see trending on TikTok and trending on Instagram all the time, and we're able to have speed to market to get those kinds of items in front of the customers more quickly.
Yeah, that seems like a huge win for regionals and independents as well. Uh, so how did the Endless Aisle initiative come about? And this seems like a massive project. So what was it like to get a project of this magnitude off the ground in the first place?
I think that what really drove it internally is that desire to bring that value to both the supplier and the customer. So we wanted to bring innovative solutions and also be innovative ourselves. So we brought our teams along on the journey, largely cross-functional effort. Along the way, we continued to listen to our customer and suppliers as we started socializing the idea. And we really wanted to present something that landed. So we continued that feedback loop, working with different focus groups, getting that feedback, and then eventually launching slowly since the end of last year as we've been onboarding more suppliers and then getting more customers on board as well.
So you worked previously with PG to tell us a little bit about the Endless Aisle initiative, and you told us previously that it is a win-win-win for everyone. So what do those wins look like for suppliers, retailers, and UNFI itself?
And for the suppliers, we're getting that exposure. So they're getting their more eyes on all of the products. They're able to bring their entire assortment. Sometimes we have a supplier that has 5 items, but they really have an assortment of 20. And now they can put all 20 out there and get that exposure. So they win by bringing all of their markets to brand across the United States for our for our customers at UNFI at scale. And as I mentioned, the small customers are getting access to those differentiated items. They're also able to order in the quantities that they want. There's no minimum order on our platform. So if they wanted to test market a case of a new item, they're able to. So they can order in the way they need, kind of meeting them where they want to be from that perspective. And UNFI's commitment is to help and support small suppliers, small independents on their journey. So we win by enabling that for those very important segments that we work with. And so far, we've gotten some pretty positive feedback that it fits a need that both the suppliers and the customers were feeling, and we're excited as we continue to grow.
Yeah, speaking on the reception that you guys have received, what has the response to Endless Aisle been like thus far? And what do you think success looks like for the program down the road?
So our suppliers have been very excited to get the exposure. I have met with so many ground up suppliers. They have leveraged their kids' college funds. They have mortgage their houses. They are all in on their journey, and their founder stories are amazing. So they're so excited to have a platform where they can tell that founder story and then also get exposure to their brand. And many of their brands have personal meaning to them. So it's all that much more important. And on the customer side, they're excited to get access to new and differentiated items, things that aren't anywhere in their market or in their region or anywhere else. So they've been pretty excited about that. There's also other competitive marketplaces out there that they've been ordering from, and now we can shift and support them in UNFI with something that is comparable. So that's very exciting. And it allows UNFI to deliver on its value prop to both the supplier and to the customer. We're enabling capabilities that are meaningful for them to grow, expand, maintain. And we're really trying to, as I mentioned, listen to what they need and then deliver on that commitment.
Well, it seems like you guys have probably learned a lot in particular from this initiative. It seems like an enormous undertaking. So, what leadership lessons, if any, of course, did you take away from your work on the Endless Aisle project that you want to move into your operations moving forward?
That's a great question. And I think that the number one thing, aside from listening, and that is something that we don't always do effectively. We get caught up in our day to day, and we need to listen and then hear. We also sometimes need to rethink how we've been approaching things. And so by doing that listening, hearing the feedback, we can rethink and be more innovative in how we're delivering to both the supplier and to the customer. And if you remove blockers, empower your teams, and create a safe environment for innovation, you can try things like this. You can pivot as you get more feedback, and you continue to become more successful. So I think those are the core things that I've learned. Continue to listen, continue to hear, and don't be afraid to try new things.
Well, that's so awesome. That's such a great answer. So, I also wanted to ask, moving a little bit away from the Endless Aisle initiative, outside of UNFI as well, are there any organizations or initiatives that you spend volunteer time with or work with outside of your career?
I've always enjoyed participating in local events that bring mentorship or growth to people in the community and to that giving back. I enjoy spending time leveraging all that I have been fortunate enough to experience or learn to bring others along in that journey and support them in their own journey going forward.
Speaking to mentorship as well, did you have any mentors or even mentees that you picked up along the way whose lessons that you still take with you to work each day?
I do. I do. I have been so fortunate to have a variety of mentors across my career, and each has added a little flavor of how to do things differently. And I have chosen what I liked and what worked, and I'm fortunate to have had that experience. Some of the things I have left behind. I think that from a mentee perspective, that's been some of the most valuable experiences that I've had throughout my career. You learn so much from what others are experiencing or their perspective. And I think that I can safely say I have taken away as much from the mentee relationships as I have for the mentor relationships, and how I wanted to do things differently in the future, and how I wanted to engage with my stakeholders or my teams based on those relationships.
I'm sure it helps to have a fresh set of eyes on things because this industry is changing so quickly. So I really appreciate you sharing that with us. So I wanted to thank you so much again, Patti, for sharing your career journey and your work on the Endless Aisle project with us over at PG. It was excellent talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
And thank all of you for tuning in. For more information about the Top Women in Grocery podcast, visit www.progressivegrocer.com/podcast. You can also subscribe to the podcast wherever you usually listen, including on Apple, Google, and Spotify. If you have an idea for a Twig podcast topic, we'd love to hear from you. Send an email to ecrowe, that's ECROWE, @ensembleiq.com. Until next time, thank you for listening.